Hello and welcome to the 360-degree lab rules and safety video. Today we will be going over some rules to ensure that your experiments in the lab are safe and you can do whatever you want without dying, important stuff. Now this video is in 360, so feel free to take a look around. Alright, now that you've seen where we are, what we're doing, let's get started. First thing you can do in the lab is make sure your clothing is safe for the lab. This means no loose clothing, and these include things like loose hoodie strings, loose hair, and untied shoelaces. Loose clothing can get caught in things and cause you to fall, and if you are carrying harmful items, that can be dangerous. If you're leaned over performing an experiment, things like hoodie strings and loose hair can fall into whatever you're doing, whether it be chemicals in chemistry or a petri dish in biology. Personally, I wouldn't want my stuff dirty or ruined in the lab, so always tuck away loose clothing and tie back long hair. Also, tie your shoelaces. If you're carrying something and fall, that can be dangerous, not to mention quite embarrassing as well. This rule might be even more important than the last one. When you're in the lab and you're using harmful chemicals, or even when you're not, always wear eye protection. I cannot stress this enough. If you get something like hydrochloric acid in your eyes, that is not a fun time for anyone. So do not forget to wear protective eyewear. In the lab, you will be performing a lot of experiments that use a variety of apparatus. It is extremely important not to ruin the lab or any of the apparatus in it. For that reason, you must avoid having any food or drink in the lab. Other than the fact that those things can cause a mess in the lab, they may also ruin some of the apparatus in the lab. Spilling things like orange juice or dropping breadcrumbs all over the place are a mess to clean up and can damage some expensive equipment, so eat before you come or wait till after. Food or water in the lab, but that doesn't mean you can eat the chemicals either. I don't want to know what sulfuric acid tastes like, and you shouldn't either. So piece of advice, any chemicals you're working with, anything in biology, don't eat or drink anything the teacher gives you in the lab. Please, you could really hurt yourself and it's painful. Also, I'm sure you've heard this before, but when smelling things in the lab, never just put your nose over it and take a deep breath. Some things can burn your nose. Always stay off to the side and waft the smell towards you. Working in the lab, you and your classmates could be working with a lot of supplies, including dangerous things like acids or the Bunsen burner. So it's very important to make sure your workspace is as organized as possible. That's why you make sure you only bring what you have to, like a notebook, utensils, and don't fill the table with useless things. Building on my point from the last rule, things like books, paper, pencils, clothes, and more importantly your skin are flammable. So when using any source of heat or flames for your experiments, such as a hot plate or a Bunsen burner, keep the area clear of clutter. No one wants to have their stuff or themselves burned, and more importantly, no one wants to start a fire in the lab. When you're in the lab, 9 times out of 9, you'll be doing something you haven't done before. So naturally, your teacher will be providing instructions on how to perform your experiment, what equipment you'll use, where to find it, how to use it, etc. Point is, it is very important you don't miss these instructions. So don't be wearing headphones in the lab, listening to music so you don't end up missing those experiments and just be sat there not knowing what to do. Also, let's say someone happens to start a fire in the lab, you could just be sitting there listening to your own music, missing important emergency instructions from your teacher on how to not die. So keep your ears open and listen to instructions. On top of listening to instructions, you have to read them too. Before the lab begins, your teacher will probably pass out a lab sheet. This lab sheet has been made by someone who has done this lab before and knows what to do. Chances are you haven't done this lab before, so I highly recommend you read this lab sheet before doing anything so you don't accidentally set the lab on fire. When you're in the lab for courses like biology and such, there may be sometimes cutting through some pretty tough things. To cut through those things, you're going to need things like scalpels, knives, razor blades, and so on. If those things can cut through stuff that you're examining in the lab, you can be pretty sure they can cut through you. So please be very careful when using them. If you're not, you could seriously hurt yourself and others around you. When you're done in the lab, cleaning up is very important. You can't leave the lab with stuff all over the place. When you enter the lab, it was tidy, and when you leave, it should be as well. So when you're done, be sure to put everything back in its place, beakers, test tubes, hot plates, etc. Also, make sure you listen to your teacher when they instruct you how to dispose of chemicals and specimens. Do it wrong and you can hurt yourself or set the lab on fire. Also, if you end up breaking something in the lab, like a beaker or a test tube, which will most likely happen, make sure you ask your teacher on how to properly dispose of it to avoid further accidents. Alright, that's pretty much it. All the rules you need to learn how to use a lab. Try to follow every rule as best you can, and more importantly, listen to your teacher. They may know more rules or any rules that are specific to whatever experiment you're doing or whatever lab you're in, and in the end, they're the experts, they're the ones who know what they're doing, and they're the ones who are teaching you. So yeah, here are the rules, listen to your teachers, be safe, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.